All right, let's move into our topic. So it has more than 200 million users, up to 8 million of whom are online at any one time. Most people spend 6 to 10 hours a week on the platform, and half of teens say that they use it to keep up with friends. Is it Snapchat? Is it Twitch? Is it Facebook? No, it's Fortnite. Fortnite. How do we feel about this development? And no order necessary. If you have a thought, just go for it. We'll make sure everybody gets a chance to talk that wants to say it. We do have a lot of people here, but we also have a lot of time. So I'd say maybe 1 to 2 minutes at a time. But whoever wants to get started, let's go.
The first thing I would say is just gaming.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry about that, guys. The first thing I'll say to kick it off is gaming is culture. Whether people want to admit that or not, maybe outside of the space, but gaming is integrated into our culture to a point that the players on Fortnite, no matter the age or whatnot, they're using Fortnite as a social platform to integrate their lives with one another. Really, it's more than a shooter game. It's more than what people on the outside may think it is. And when you look at it from the lens of a social platform, it takes it down an interesting conversation path. And we'd definitely like to get to hear what other people think about that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
I think it's interesting to see that Fortnite, what it's building up and what it's coming to become. But the thing is, how does if Fortnite dies Epic decides to take down Fortnite in 2 years or 1 year, what happens with that? Where do people move? And I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of people moving for different platforms and all that. So I think it's interesting to see if will Discord be the one where everybody keeps the conversation on, and that's what we're doing, or is it Fortnite that's going to be there, or do people use Fortnite just to connect but speak through Discord or Overwolf or wherever it can be? So I think the game publisher is going to have a lot of responsibility when moving forward if this is going to be the main, I would say, communication platform, what people say, what people do, and how do we check those kind of things.
I think the Discord would not be the next Fortnite if they take Fortnite down. I mean, there are social media platforms, Facebook, Discord, it's mainly chat or you share a picture or so. The crucial component I see in Facebook, and that comes with gaming, that it's super easy to change your identity on Facebook or on Discord. Now, mainly on Facebook, you are what you are in real life. And Discord, you can have a nickname or so. But in Fortnite, you can customize your character, and only gaming can do that. That's why it's for me, there's such a strong stickiness to these social communities, because in real life, it's harder to be what you want to be than in game. I think that's a thing.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like how you mentioned that. And Magnus, I'm glad you mentioned Discord. I'm hoping we have some more conversations around that here as well. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I would say, with the way that Fortnite is structured, it makes it very easy to be a social platform. They have so many different modes now that aren't just the traditional battle royale. I just logged on the other day and was looking through it, and the creative mode, you can basically create your own little world that all your friends come and meet you at and hang out. And you can, with the same imagination as a child on the playground, you can come up with little games to play within that world that aren't created by the developers of the game. And with that in mind, I think, yes, if Fortnite were to go away, something would need to replace it. But I think that something needs to be a universal platform similar to Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, where it has that staying power and doesn't necessarily rely on being a trendy game. If you could capture that essence of what the Fortnite creative mode is, or just the Fortnite platform, but without the feel of it being Fortnite or it being a World of Warcraft or any specific game. I think they would hit that same note that Facebook is hitting, or any major social platform.
I'm glad you mentioned World of Warcraft. I actually want to come back to that a little bit later, because I think that before Fortnite, World of Warcraft has been somewhat of a social platform for much longer. But I want to come back to that. But Mariella, Michaela, Justin, any of y'all have any thoughts on this as well?
Yes, certainly. Fortnite is a fashion for the teens right now, and I see it as the new Counter-Strike. I mean, I'm older enough to say it. I'm not that keen into this game because even if I turn around at the office and ask questions about it, they would say, no, it's not the place that will chat with each other. But I'm certain that these kids, they will actually have their community with those Fortnite friends that they have, and they chat every day for offline topics. And after that, they will stay together even if they move in another game or another social network or chat platform. Like, for example, my husband is still friends with the players from Counter-Strike from I don't know how many years ago. I mean, they're now discussing it. And so, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to chime in here. So a lot of folks may not remember this. I'll date myself. EverQuest, way back in the days.
I remember EverQuest.
we started guilds, and the guilds became a way to communicate, and those guilds talked in the game. But we also then, at the time, we had to create our own ways of communicating outside of the platforms. And then, I think that things will migrate. Fortnite has been fantastic for a lot of reasons for the industry. And I do believe that is a social platform for a certain segment of the population. I would say that it's probably the 10 to 25-year-old segment, and mostly male. And just like you've got TikTok as a way to communicate, although probably not as quite a platform. Ages ago, again, dating myself, there was Second Life. I do believe that games are the new social platform. I do think that, as we know, my kid and most of the kids that I know that are a little older than her don't use normal Messenger. They don't use a lot of the things we do. They definitely aren't on Facebook. So I do think whatever the next game is after Fortnite will be, but I think the real answer is going to be some kind of cross-platform solution that allows people to create these virtual avatars that will be able to go into multiple games. And I know that's much more complex than we have time to get into here, because everybody playing nice in the sandbox has never happened in my lifetime. But I do think eventually somebody's going to figure out how to get us there, and that will be the ultimate. But until then, you're going to have a mix of Discord, whatever everybody's playing, and then the next thing.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. And Michaela, and after Michaela, I actually there is someone I forgot to introduce because I wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it. But we also have Tim Wilson here. Thanks for joining, Tim. But yeah, Michaela, what are your thoughts on this before we turn it over to Tim?
Yeah, I agree. Games are really the new social platform, and also the social platform we will have still in the future. And of course, I think as many kids are playing in Fortnite or, of course, World of Warcraft before it, games do really have a huge responsibility for them. So we need to teach them values like diversity and inclusion. And I think these games are really doing well in that topics. And also, I would love to see many more games like Fortnite to allow people from different parts of the world to play together. I think it's really important for kids to start meeting new people from different countries. It's really the best thing we can think about these kind of games.
Absolutely. Very, very good thoughts there, Michaela. Tim, how about yourself? You're going to give a 30-second intro and then maybe a minute of thought on this topic.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. I'm just doing transatlantic today, so it's chaos, dog, baby, everything. So, yeah, I'm Tim Wilson. Actually, I'll write out pretty well on here. I'm the CEO of Qt.com. A few of you may have heard of us. We're basically, think of Reddit meets Qualtrics Analytics. So we're a next generation forum comments polling site, but there is natural language processing underneath it. Okay, and some sophisticated AI rules. What does that mean for audiences? Well, you can filter 2,000 comment discussions with a few clicks to get to the topics and people that interest you. So it's a revolution, that's the wrong word, revolutionary commenting. What does it give brands? It gives brands immediate insights they can't get out of social media, superior insights to social listening, and you're not forcing your audience into a survey. And then we have a reporting function that creates a quote-unquote report in seconds. With actually, the reason I'm on this call is that we've had a lot of early traction with gaming influencers driving us their audiences and collecting incredible insights. Okay, so incredible insights about game mechanics. We did a lot of stuff with FIFA, where you're getting into conversations where you've got 300 people leaving paragraph comments about how the headers are wrong on the current game. So we've got this ability to provide gamers with more intelligent discussion than they get on Discord or within Fortnite or on Reddit, but provide the gaming community and developers with really in-depth insights. So social thing for me, and we're on the cutting edge of this, is that social media has completely failed society on a larger framework. Hive minds, echo chambers, vocal minorities, people who scream and shout the loudest. So it's very hard for smart people to wade through the tide of stupidity, right? And that is present in gaming, yeah? I mean, I'm probably older than most of you. My first game was Scramble, if anybody ever remembers that. My dad imported him into the UK in 1982 or something. So I was an original gaming addict. So, and I think the gaming community, we found on our site, I'll give you some examples of the engagements we've done. FIFA, 3 years running, 1,500 comments, paragraph length deep, 5,000 or 6,000 poll results. They are willing to be extremely erudite and extremely well behaved. 160,000 comments, deleted 60 for bad behavior. Very well behaved, very altruistic in their discussions if they're given the technology, right? And it's not frustrating. So I think from my perspective on this, you can look at Twitch, you can look at Discord, it's very ephemeral. There's not a lot there, there's not a content there. We're proving already that there is a massive insight and heavyweight insights to come from this audience in the gaming community, and it's not really being extracted to you. I mean, we're talking to the biggest developers in the world in slots and gaming. They haven't got the insights we've got. Yeah, they're admitting that they can't collect them. They're not providing a mechanism for the gamer's voice to be heard. And I think a lot of them, again, not naming names, don't want to hear the gamer's voice. Yeah, there's certain maybe a game we're talking about right now doesn't actually want to hear what the audience thinks because that is contradictory to their own strategy. Yeah. So, I think it's obviously the biggest community in the world. It's going to have a lot of power. It's exponentially growing. It's going to have a lot of influence. Yeah. And I think also we use gaming influencers on YouTube to kickstart a lot of our discussions. They have the most passionate audiences, right, who are going to make or break products. They're the ones who are going to basically in a month decide if FIFA 20, FIFA 19 is really going to hit big. Yeah. Because if they don't like it, they'll make sure everybody else knows about it. So I think this is a very topical discussion. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. Something interesting. We had a great Ask Me Anything yesterday with some other industry veterans, and some of you may know Matthew Morris over at Unity. I think he's the business development director, head of sales, but he made a very interesting comment about the gaming industry, that the gaming industry is still a toddler in comparison to other established industries, especially like, banking or finance or, even just, browsers, anything like that. So it's still kind of a toddler. And I always found it very interesting that this toddler of an industry has such a massive user base. And, last year did over $150 billion in revenue as a toddler. Imagine what this industry will be like when it actually hits maturity. Right. And I found that very interesting. And then even esports is maybe, even younger than that, maybe more like an infant. as far as its development. And but yeah, it's huge user base. I think that gaming has really been a social platform for a lot longer than people are really realizing it. And just looking at some of the comments in the chat, thinking about things like World of Warcraft, RuneScape, Minecraft, Roblox, these are all extremely social games that bring people together from all over the world. And me personally, my wife has been for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, has been a very hardcore World of Warcraft player. So and her entire social network is associated with that game, with that experience. And so I have like a 10-year case study in my own home of what gaming as a social platform really looks like. And she's far closer to those friends, that network, than she is anyone on Facebook, or even people that we go to like church with or stuff like that. It's because they're doing fun things, right? It's not just socializing, it's socializing around a passion or around something that's really fun.
Just to drop in there, we did two reports about 18 months ago, which we're going through our final sort of testing. We did one on Gaming Today, where we actually asked the gaming community what they thought of gaming. Yeah, surprisingly not really been done before. Yeah, we got like 1,800 comments, 10,000 poll results that drove 160 pieces of global media coverage. Yeah, we then did one on gaming in you, the personal impact, the social impact, and the testimonials we got from the players were in some cases heartbreaking. Yeah, kids who'd been in car accidents, they were depressed, or they were from around the world and felt that the gaming provided them a level playing field. And I don't think those things have really been discussed. You get your WHO report castigating gaming is addictive. You get this other simplistic view from most society that who games, everybody. There's so much there. There's so much depth and richness inside it, and it's not really been explored. It's not really been discussed that much either. Yeah. So I think it's a very exciting time. Very exciting time.